For years, I believed I just wasn't talented enough to play music by ear without hunting and pecking notes on my instrument. I spent a decade trying every ear training exercise, and still nothing worked, until I learned how to turn thinking into feeling. Since then, this approach has helped thousands of musicians go from feeling untalented to confidently playing by ear without guessing, and is now used in top universities worldwide. Today, I'll show you the #1 exercise that changed everything for hundreds of musicians, including myself, and the exact steps to make sure you can finally hear a song and instantly play it or improvise over it, no matter what instrument you play. To start, I'm going to show you why 99% of musicians are stuck forever hunting and pecking. If we don't fix this first, you'll never learn to play by ear. The main problem is that most musicians don't clearly understand the 3 core components of playing by ear. They think they are already doing it, but they aren't. Let's start with the first and most neglected component. To help you understand this better, I'll use an analogy. Would you ever move your mouth and tongue at random, hoping a real sentence comes out? Of course not. But that's what most musicians do. They move their fingers automatically, repeating memorized patterns, but their mind isn't imagining any sound. That's why their playing feels repetitive, mechanical, and unmusical. So the first component is having a clear musical idea in your imagination. Real playing starts from sound in your mind before you touch your instrument. Next, you need to recognize the notes you're imagining or hearing. For most musicians, this feels like translating an idea into a language you don't speak. But this is the second essential component, and with the right approach, it's much easier than what you think, as you'll see later in this video. Finally, your body needs to know how to play those notes instantly. Imagine knowing exactly what you want to say, but forgetting how to move your mouth to speak. That's what happens when you haven't trained the mind-to-instrument connection. But when imagination, recognition, and movement align, you stop guessing. Over time, your brain links sound ideas directly to finger movements, and you play straight from your imagination. That's true playing by ear, when musical imagination becomes music instantly. Now that you understand the problem, here's the single exercise that will reset your system for true playing by ear. To make this exercise truly effective, we need to ensure that all 3 components I mentioned are always engaged. So before we start the exercise itself, there are 2 preparatory steps and 1 non-negotiable rule you need to follow. Preparatory step #1 is to choose a single scale pattern to work with for now. If you play guitar, I recommend starting with this shape. For sake of clarity, the numbers here don't represent the fingers to use, but the 7 scale degrees. The same applies if you play any other instrument. Use a major scale shape you already know and stick with it for this exercise. The goal of this first preparatory step is simple. Learn that pattern so well that you can instantly locate any scale degree without having to think about fingerings. This doesn't mean you have to learn to play that pattern super fast. What matters is that you can instantly locate a specific scale degree on command. That's your foundation, which ensures that you intuitively know where the degrees are on your instrument. Next, our non-negotiable rule for this exercise is what truly ensures that you imagine notes in your head before you play them. So you'll finally stop regurgitating random licks, scales, or muscle memory patterns and start creating music that truly comes from you. This rule is surprisingly simple, though some of you, the ones who actually need it the most, might not like it. During this exercise, you must sing every note before you play it. Now don't tell me, yeah, but I can't sing, or I hate the sound of my voice. I felt the same way, but you don't need to sing beautifully and you don't need anyone to hear you. Just hum softly. That's more than enough. If your vocal range is too low or too high, just hum the notes in whatever octave feels most comfortable for you. That's completely fine. Singing is important because at first, your inner sound might be fuzzy or unstable. Singing forces it into focus and keeps you accountable for playing exactly what you imagined, not whatever your fingers default to. Now it's time for the next preparatory step, which ensures that you know which notes you're imagining in your head before even touching your instrument. Most people fail here because when they realize they can't instantly tell which note they're hearing or imagining, they rush to the usual ear training drills, like interval recognition and other random quizzes. But those drills are like trying to learn to swim by reading about swimming. They only leave you more confused and frustrated. Luckily, when you do this next step, you'll see that the secret is to use your brain in a completely different way from what you're used to. You should stop thinking and start feeling the notes. After teaching this to more than 2,500 musicians, I can tell you that anyone can do it. Here's how. Before we get started, it's essential to understand that the feeling of notes is not related to the intervals or the actual note itself. Any note can take on any feeling, really, because the feeling of notes depends on which scale degree they occupy within the key of the song. For example, G in G major will feel like C in C major, because they are both the first degree of the scale. But G in C major will feel totally different, since it's the fifth scale degree there. And I'm not making this up. This is supported by serious music cognition studies. So to start experiencing the feeling that notes have in real music, we'll use a drone chord that acts as the tonic of our key, the musical gravitational center that is completely stable. When the center of gravity is clear, the pull of each specific scale degree, its level of tension or resolution, also becomes very clear and easy to experience. Here's the drone chord, which includes the tonic, the fifth above, and the tonic an octave below. Now, what I'd like you to do is slowly sing the scale degrees I'm going to play. Okay, sing it and notice how it feels stable, right? It's the tonic note, the most stable note of the key. Now sing the second degree and notice how it feels much more unstable, as if it wants to pull back and resolve to 1 again. Now sing the third degree and notice how it feels somewhere in between the two. Not very unstable, but not super stable either. Keep singing these notes in different orders, getting familiar with their feeling. Now I'll play you one of these three notes, and you'll have a few seconds to recognize it. How did it go? If you're struggling, that's perfectly fine at this point. Wait until the end of this video where I'll show you a specific exercise to make sure you can't fail at this anymore. Now let's put everything together and get started with the exercise that will make sure you can play by ear without guessing. This exercise can be practiced at various difficulty level, but we'll keep it simple to start with. So we're only going to use the first 3 notes of the G major scale. They are the same notes you have practiced in the preparatory step. There's a free backing track for you. Check the link in the description. The exercise works like this. Start at the simplest level. Hum any one of those 3 notes at the beginning of a bar, then play the same note on your instrument at the start of the next bar, like this. If you find this exercise tricky at first, that's completely normal. Here's an easier way to start. Just hum one of the three notes, then play it on your instrument, taking as much time as you need. The key is to get the right note on your first try, even if you have to pause and think. Once the simplest level feels comfortable, you can make it a bit more challenging. Try humming and playing every 2 beats instead of every bar. This way, you'll gradually build both accuracy and speed step by step. Once you're comfortable with that, you can start humming and playing a note every beat. And when that feels easy, start humming short phrases, 3 or 4 notes in a row, using only the first 3 degrees of the scale, and then play them back. With a bit of practice, you'll notice a real shift. Instead of thinking, where is this note? You'll instantly know which note to play. Even better, you'll start to feel exactly what those notes will sound like just by looking at the frets or keys on your instrument. That's the first real step toward playing by ear without guessing, and you'll be surprised at how musical your phrases can sound even with just 3 notes, as long as you let your ear guide you. Here's a quick example of what that sounds like. Only when that feels natural should you begin adding more notes of the scale, one at a time, until you're eventually using all 7. Most people fail here because they rush the process, jumping to all 7 notes in complicated rhythms before their mind is ready. It's like trying to run before you can walk, and it leaves hidden weak spots in your system. Use this pipeline to spot where you might be skipping ahead. For the vast majority of musicians, the real weak spot is note recognition. They can't sense notes quickly and intuitively enough to support true playing by ear. But when you unlock that single skill, everything changes instantly. Suddenly, your ear, mind, and hands work together, and playing by ear finally feels effortless. To prove this point, let me show you a quick video of Etienne. Like many musicians, he practiced for months using traditional methods, but still struggled to play music by ear.
Okay, I think I got the melody, but it's really hard. I think I have to use my instrument. I will have a try and we'll listen to it again.
A few moments later.
Yeah, I hope this was okay for you, and I will start with the next ones.
At that stage, he was frustrated, stuck, repeating the same exercises, yet still unable to truly play music by ear or connect what he heard to his instrument. Then he switched from those traditional methods to our full method. What happened next completely changed his identity as a musician. His note recognition skills skyrocketed, and in just a few months, Etienne, a guitarist, not a pianist, could do this. Great. Okay. Great. Great. And not only that, recognizing chords which felt impossible just months ago is now easy for him too. Okay, good. Again, please. Okay. Which chord that was?
Fifth.
Great. So... Okay. Do you feel like you're thinking a lot when you're doing that?
No, not really.
Was it like that when you started?
No.
He went from 0 to playing piano by ear simply by changing his ear training approach. If Etienne can unlock this skill on a completely new instrument, just think what's possible for you. But now that you understand note recognition is likely the #1 skill holding you back from truly playing by ear, you should also know this. Most musicians never develop it because they overlook the one thinking strategy that helps them recognize notes by their unique emotional identity. But if you're ready to finally break through, watch this next video where I'll walk you through the exact thinking strategy you need to adopt and the #1 exercise to recognize notes instantly by feeling instead of thinking. And if you're ready to go even deeper, check out our free workshop where we'll show you how to build a complete, intuitive ear from 0 step by step. Link in the description.